A cruise passenger in Alaska dies in a freak accident, and German police storm the new Disney adventure. Interesting stories today. Let's talk about it. Welcome, I'm Sean Whent. I'm your host here at the Whent There Cruising Channel, and today is cruise news for Monday, September the 8th, 2025. Some interesting stories over the last few days. One coming out of Alaska last Thursday. In Ketchikan, a cruise passenger was killed in a sort of a freak accident. So 5 cruise ships were in port that day, which unloaded roughly 16,000 people into the city of Ketchikan. But there was a traffic accident in Ketchikan where a parked car suddenly drove off and hit some pedestrians and then ultimately wound up in a river. And pedestrians actually jumped in to save the driver of the car. But one of the pedestrians was a cruise passenger there and was unfortunately killed in the incident. So kind of a freak thing, obviously, it can happen. But I thought of that. I just recently returned this weekend, actually, from a 2-week Mediterranean cruise and went through lots of great cities over there in the Mediterranean. And we'll post in some of that content soon. But one of the things that occurred to me in a lot of these places was how dangerous it is to cross the street. In Florence and Athens and some of these places that we went, it was dangerous crossing the street. And so, yeah, I mean, probably the most dangerous thing that we do in some of these areas is just walk around. As all the ways you can potentially get hurt, you wouldn't think that just being a pedestrian would be it, but clearly in this case, that is the case. So unfortunate, we do offer our sympathies to their family, but certainly, you know, it shows you got to pay attention. And even if you do pay attention, you never know when a car may lurch out of nowhere and get you. So really unfortunate freak thing that happened there. Second story today is from Royal Caribbean, and the fleet just keeps on growing. So today in Finland, the shipyard laid the keel for the 4th Icon-class ship. So Icon's been sailing for roughly a year. Star of the Seas has just launched and is now taking paying passengers. And last week it was reported that they floated out the 3rd one, the Legend of the Seas. Apparently has touched water for the first time. Well, today in Finland, they have laid the keel for the 4th Icon-class ship. No word yet on what it will be named or where it will be deployed, but it is expected to come online sometime in 2027. So, you know, they're just getting bigger and bigger there at Royal Caribbean. There is word that they've, there's a new class of vessels. They're supposedly the Discovery class. We'll follow these and we'll actually be going back to some smaller ships. But I'll believe that when I see it. I haven't seen any concept art or anything like that. And the trend seems to be just big, big, big. So big news from Royal Caribbean today. Third thing today, I've noticed since I started a YouTube channel, one of the sources I look at is John Heald. He's the brand ambassador there at Carnival Cruise Line. And he posts on his Facebook page a lot of questions or comments that people make. And I actually wonder if some of these are even real. The one recent one that now I saw was a passenger complaining about a lack of compensation due to a medical emergency on board. So apparently a ship, didn't say which one, had left out of Miami and had to return to the port to evacuate a passenger with a medical issue, unknown what it was and why they couldn't use a helicopter or whatever. But for whatever reason, they had to return to port, and this resulted in them having to close the casino and shops on board for about 5 hours. But then they redeployed later that evening. But this passenger wanted compensation for not being allowed to use the facilities or no compensation for not being able to use the casino for that period of time. So what do you think? Should the cruise line offer some compensation here? This to me does not seem like an area worthy of compensation. This is sort of beyond the cruise line's control. It's one of those things that happens in life. It's unfortunate, but I don't know. I think people seem very, very entitled. You see complaints on John Heald's page about people complaining about weather and, you know, all kinds of things that are certainly not the fault of the cruise line. And I almost wonder the authenticity of some of these, but I guess people really are as bad as they seem to be. So what are your thoughts? Compensation or no? Should they get compensation for the casino being closed for a few hours during a medical emergency? Curious to hear what you have to say. Last story today comes from Disney Cruise Line. On September 3rd, the German police raided the Disney Adventure. So the new Disney Adventure, right, it's Disney's newest ship. It will deploy in December this year, but it has just last week started its sea trials. And so while in Wismar, Germany there on the 3rd, the German police stormed the boat. It was there for a refueling stop during sea trials and ended up arresting 2 port employees that were on board the ship. So they were not employees of Disney Cruise Line, and of course there was no passengers on the ship. It is still under construction or undergoing its sea trials. Apparently one of these people had a warrant for drunk driving, another one had a warrant for fraud, but nevertheless the German police felt that was the time to do it and stormed the ship and arrested 2 of these employees. So kind of scary, but you know, I guess crime happens everywhere. But no harm, no foul, no passengers on board, and certainly not the calamity that it could have been. So all looks good. Still, Disney is still on track to launch the Disney Adventure this December. So as I mentioned, I am now back from the Mediterranean cruise. We're going to start getting some of that Mediterranean content up there. This week, we're going to start with a hits and misses video of the Sun Princess. So lots to like on there. Some things maybe not as great. Interesting to see as the Star Princess launches in a couple of weeks, if they adjusted any of these things that are identified as a miss on board the Sun Princess. So look forward to that. If you want to see some of that, please subscribe. You can hit the notification bell, and so you'll be notified when that cruise content comes online. If you like today's video, please, if you found it useful, please like the video. And until we see you next time, we wish you smooth sailing. Take care.